All right, everybody, welcome to week 2 of the the May monthly Tuesday night Swiss tournament. I have the white pieces, and I'm paired against Anish Saravanan. Hopefully I'm saying Anish's last name right. I don't really know, but Saravanan, perhaps? Saravanan? I'm not sure. Nevertheless, Anish seemed, he wasn't a kid, but he was young. I don't know if he was college age, or probably high school age is my guess. Yeah, he's a strong player. He's 1873. I feel like that's a year. As soon as you get into things that could be years rather than, I guess, 1252 is a year, but, not very recent one anyway, where, like, history happens and you might know the history of that year, then you might, be playing some serious players. As far as the prep, I'm going to be honest, I've been playing, I beat everything within Slay the Spire 2, great game, and I have obviously been playing chess pretty much every day, but I have not studied in, like, 2 weeks. I got the white pieces, which is good because I've had a bunch of black in a row, and my only goal was to play well. Yeah, I will say after having played a lot of people lower rated than me, and now I'm finally playing people higher rated than me, it's way different. There's zero pressure. Into this game, my current rating is 1701 or so. I'm not quite 200 points lower than Anish. Clearly, he's a higher rated player than me. Now, does that mean he's a better player? Maybe, maybe not. But it does mean that if I lose, like Ilya, I lost like 6 points. The losses really aren't that bad. I never really played a draw, so I'm, trying to go guns out, suns out, guns out. And let's just get into the action. Why not? Now, he plays knight f6, and the funny thing is I have not reviewed Trumpowski lines in a while, but I say, well, this is my prep right now. This is what I do. Let's go Trumpowski. And what's funny is he plays g6. And as I told him, this has now happened against me over the board 3 times. And... And like, it's not a very common response. This is like the 4th most common response, and yet it's happened against me over the board 3 times. I know it's to take. He takes back, and actually I'm supposed to play e3 and then c4. And I mixed up the move orders. I don't actually think it matters. I play c4. He finchettos his bishop. He's trying to get like a King's Indians setup, and this is what I want: somebody thinking that they can play a King's Indian setup when that's no longer the position. So kind of like I'm still in my own like theory. These doubled pawns. He's got the bishop pair. That's the gist of the Trumpowski. By the way, I'm doing this on the laptop, but I moved my standing microphone over, so I hope this looks good and sounds good. We'll see. I actually bought a new monitor because, long story, I definitely need to set everything up with my other computer. In any event, I now play e3. I basically get a strong pawn chain. I'm looking to own the center, and not surprisingly, black castles, Anish castles. By the way, Anish plays this whole game very quickly. I will highlight the times when he thinks, and I'll highlight the times I think. Neither of us were really thinking at this point, not surprisingly. I play bishop d3, both knight c3. I don't want to play the knight out yet, and obviously I don't want to block in the bishop, because a lot of times, I know my prep when they play an early f5, the idea with the knight is actually to get it to f4 and use it as the blockade piece, so that he can't just play like f5, f4. Which otherwise is good because then it kind of eliminates the weakness of Black's, Black's position. All right. Nonetheless, he now plays d6, just trying to contest the center to an extent, kind of take away those squares. Can't really argue with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I now get my knight into the game. I play knight c3. He now plays c6, which I thought was interesting. He's trying to basically, let's say he makes a random move. I mean, this isn't so random, but. I did have ideas of jumping the knight, either this way or this way. Doesn't really work. He can just force me back, but again, trying to gang up in some lines on f6. That's kind of the conceptual idea. He plays c6 very quickly, like he knows his theory, and I probably should have thought longer. This is my first mini-think. I spent 2 minutes, and I decide to play the move h4. I'm going to just show, again, I'm going to be flipping the engine on and off a little bit. Oh, wow, h4 is... Oh my god. Oh baby! H4 was the best move! I'm really proud of myself. Now again, I know some of this is my own opening theory, and again, everything is zeros here. But look at that, H4 is the right idea. And then obviously, it's never wrong to just get the knight GE2 into the game. But the thinking with H4 is this could maybe probe and induce weaknesses. And I really want to play H5 and get him to open up the board. Because I know in all these positions, when they've got like double pawns, and it's easy for me to go after it, like using the H-file, white is much better. So I thought it was a good move and it posed practical problems. It turns out it's the best move in the position, so I'm rather pleased with myself. Because I am, for the record, here now, I'm out of theory. Anish, this is where he spends his first thing of the game. He goes to an hour 24, so about a 5-minute thing. And he plays h5. Now, what's funny is, I'm actually curious if that is the best move. What's funny is, it is the best move. It's funny because it is the best move, and I'm not surprised it is. Okay, now the computer says it's not the best move. Now f5 may be better, things like that. But I thought as soon as he plays h5, he's like opening up a lot of weaknesses in his position. He's really starting to move these pawns around his king. He's kind of softening it up. And I don't have to castle into this, okay? So on move 8, I spend another 2 minutes, I think for a little while. And the reason why I was thinking is I know that this queen b3 idea to bear down, basically pin this pawn so that I can play bishop takes on g6 is an idea. I also wanted to bear down on the b7 pawn, and I kind of want to keep his bishop locked on c7, because if his bishop is locked on c7, by the way, this is a major theme this whole game, that means his rook can't get into the game. So I was looking at queen b3, I was looking at queen c2. The move I played, I think is probably best, is just knight ge2. Again, I don't want to play to f3, because I thought there were some lines where, like, if he pins, I actually want to be able to play f3. So I thought, like, if I play knight ge2 here, and he tries to do any kind of, like, you know, pin, I can then just play f3 at tempo. And then I'm actually getting, like, f3, g4 ideas, and I'm pawn storming him, just ripping open the king pawns. And I do think I have initiative, and I think I'm just better there. Anyway, so I looked again at, you know, like, queen here, queen here. I think those are all the moves I looked at. I'm actually kind of curious. It's got to be knight g2. Yeah, knight g2 and c2. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, those are the best moves in the position. Well, those are literally the 3 best moves in the position. All right, good. I've got my finger on the pulse in this position. I feel pretty happy about that, because I will say I was pretty confident, and I was fine with how the game was going. By the way, in Trapowski lines, if white, black plays decently, he's playing fine. The computer will always evaluate it as zeros, and this is actually a conversation I had with Justin after the game. My game ended kind of on the earlier side. You guys will see why. I actually grabbed a tasty burger with Justin. I very rarely eat like fast food or anything of that kind, but we took the tea back because we were done so early, and we chatted a little bit about like equal positions and whatnot. And the truth is, I don't mind equal positions. Like, the Trapowski is equal, but if I know the themes and my opponent doesn't, if I'm in my prep, then that's an edge, that's an advantage. And I think that's kind of what happened so far this game. Remember last week I played against Ilya, he outplayed me, he positionally just played very solidly, very well, and he converted. And I was saying that, I needed things to go right to beat a player who's like 1900 plus. Well, so far as I was concerned, this game is going right. We were in my wheelhouse. All right, after he plays h5, I develop the knight. It seems to make sense. I want to jump into f4. I have all of these ideas as far as controlling a lot of squares. My pieces are starting to loom. I'm considering f3, g4 ideas, just blow it open. Just kind of get my rookies rolling, things like that. Anyway, he plays queen e7, which I'm pretty sure is an inaccuracy. I thought his best move was just rook e8. The reason why is his rook would then be kind of lined up on my king. It would be a potential pin on the e pawn, so that if he lands f5, which I think is good, he really needs to get f5 in there. It opens up the capability for him to actually take on d4. It's another reason why I liked my knight on e2. A as a shield against the rook, but also B to overprotect the d pawn. So that's another reason for that. Anyway, whatever. He plays queen e7. It is what it is. In this position, I thought for 5 minutes, and my candidate moves were king, believe it or not, f1. I didn't really consider castling because I thought castling maybe I'd have to play g3. I wasn't sure I liked that. I think it's just too easy for him to sort of like come into my position. I looked now at queen c2, queen b3, and then the move I ended up playing, which is knight f4. Now, I liked knight f4 because I thought it had practical sack potential, where like knight takes on g6, or knight takes on h5, or bishop takes. One thing that you should notice is with the queen on e7, I realized that the g6 pawn and square is a forking square. So I thought that, like, conceptually, if I'm able to have, like, let's say, here, I'll show you what he played. Like, this is some of the calculations I was making. I played knight f4. He plays f5 here. Let's say he plays a random move. Let's say he just, gets his knight into the game. I was looking at from these positions, bishop takes pawn, pawn takes, knight takes, and you guys can tell like I'm hitting these two. So let's say he moves. If I take, let's say he takes back or so. I thought that this was pretty good. His king is ripped open. It's 2 minor pieces for a major piece and a pawn. I have ideas like queen f3, and yeah, I'm just like spiking everything. I have a rook lift, and maybe I just queenside castle. I'm actually curious. This is kind of what I envisioned how the computer evaluates. It evaluates it as slightly better for black. Not surprisingly, we're still in the middle game, and the 2 minor pieces tend to be more important. But I still thought that this looked, pretty decent, to be honest. In fact, the computer says I should castle here. Wow. Wow. Maybe I would have castled. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, the point is, I was thinking, it's not like I have to go for them, but I was thinking that I have a lot of those sacking ideas. He pushes his pawn to f5, and yeah, now I do a good old think. For the record, he's threatening to take because this pawn is in fact pinned. I need to get my queen into the game. I might have a sacrifice. But I thought that the way to handle this, and I'm very proud of my move here. I don't know if it's the best move, but I'm proud of it. Is I just simply, and I only spent I spent no time on this move. I think I planned it the last turn. As I play king f1. The reason why I wanted to get off the e file, number 1. Number 2, I think that there's a world in which I rook lift. I also wanted to keep protecting the h pawn because right now it's unpri, if I was to castle and move the piece. I'm actually kind of curious what the computer says. Oh my god. Yeah, baby. It's the best move in the position. And apparently bishop e2 is good too. So just moving back over here. All right, but king f1 is a really good move. All right, well, I'm thrilled about that. Sometimes I play well. My idea, for the record, was I wanted to position the queen either to b3, again, gunning down to put pressure on the f-pawn, also always watching the b pawn, so it's not so easy for him to develop a light square bishop, and then swing my rook to e1 and contest the file that way. That's kind of what I had envisioned, for the record. After I play king f1, he plays knight d7, blocking his bishop, and this is where I spend 13 minutes. This was my critical position of the game. It's the most time because I want all of you that are watching to find the move. Think about what I should do, what I ought to do. I'll give you a hint. I was looking for my candidate moves at bishop takes, at knight takes, queen c2, queen b3, queen d2. Those are the moves I was looking at. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in this position where I was looking. Was I looking to play d5 in this position? I don't think so. Well, in any event, what ends up happening is I think for 13 minutes, and I calculate all of those. And I realize this. I think in this position, queen c2 is the best move in the position, for the record. I do think that. I think positionally it keeps everything on board. It sets up my rook to slide over. I still have like sacrifice ideas, but I was worried if I don't sacrifice here, if he gets the move knight f6, he'll untangle his position because he'll be able to develop his bishop, he'll be able to connect the rooks, and he's going to defend all of these squares. So I thought, if I want to sack, I need to do it now. And then I said, is the sacrifice good? And I thought of Daniel Naroditsky. I thought of what he says is, well, in all the sacrifices I calculate, I get at least 2 pawns. So like a piece for 2 pawns is decent. I also have open lines. Like if he has to take with the g pawn, the g file becomes open. And I've got all this play. And his rook is kind of stuck in the corner and he can't get his bishop out. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let's go for it. And when I decided I should go for it, I also thought of last week where positionally I just kind of got outplayed. I didn't want to have another one of those games. I wanted to stick it to a higher rated player and basically show that, I can make some moves. I then calculate what's better. Should I go bishop takes or should I go knight takes? I thought knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and surely you guys can see the idea. There's like mate threats. But unfortunately this pawn's in the way, and I thought maybe after a move like knight f6, I could probably go here, and I thought that this was fine. Maybe I'm picking up a third pawn. I'm not sure. This is kind of what I calculated for this. And this is not that good. This is minus 1.5. So I didn't do this, apparently, because after a move like queen e6, where he's just protecting the pawn, everything is fine. So, all right. So then I said, okay, if I don't love that position, what about the move I played? What about bishop takes? And I calculated for a long time, and I thought I saw not a winning line, but a line where I have all the play. I thought my king was very safe. The board opens up, and he's got problems. And that's exactly what happened this game. So I think from a practical perspective, I'm pretty pleased with my move. By the way, I'm actually going to look up real quickly the best move in the position. My guess was it was going to be queen c2 or queen b3. Queen c2 is here. Best move is g3. Quiet move. I guess the computer wants to go g3 with the idea of supporting the pawn and then just castling by hand or running the queen here. They want to go here. Okay, and then after like move like rook e8, then I play bishop e2, just kind of re-threaten another sacrifice. I see on the h file on the h pawn, and white is slightly better, plus 0.3. Okay, fair enough. Ignore that analysis jump. We'll see what I know the computer doesn't like that best, but practically I still think it's good. I'm just kind of curious here in this position because this is what I was weighing it against. And apparently, again, and this is what I was worried about, knight f6. I thought knight f6 here, and everything is just pretty good for him. Yeah, computer just wants to lock it up. All right. Well, computer says it's a blunder, but we won't get into that yet. We won't get into that yet. He takes back. And, after g takes on f5, I play, of course, queen takes on h5. Now, I thought this wasn't as good because I thought there was no way my queen was getting in because this pawn's taking it away. So again, in this position, after a move like knight f6, if I jump back, I'm still not getting in there. This knight is such a good defender. Whereas here, if he jumps in from this position, I can actually slide over to g5, and I thought that was pretty good for me. Instead, Anish really surprises me. I thought knight f6 was like the natural move. It's definitely the best move, but instead he plays queen f6, and he spent. But he's at an hour 15. He's only spent 15 minutes total on 13 moves. He moved quickly the entire game, definitely to his detriment. After my long think, after queen takes h5, queen f6, I spent another couple minutes, and I think to myself, all right, well, what are the strengths in this position? Well, his king is open. I have a way to get my rook in the game. His bishop is still kind of not bearing down. Because as long as I keep the f-pawn there, it's kind of shutting out his own bishop, kind of making it a bad bishop. I would like to get my other pieces into the game, but let's start with this one. So I play rook h3 with the idea of the rook lift. I thought practically I was in really good shape here. He plays queen h6. He's trying to just trade off. He's thinking that if he can consolidate, he's safe and he is fine. I realize that if I retreat, that's not so good for me. But instead, I can defend it through tactics. I play the move rook g3, and I think this is a good move. Plays here because if he takes the queen, I take back with the knight, and I'm going to win my piece back, and I'm going to be up 2 clear pawns. I think this is just losing for black. If he was to trade, yeah, it's plus 3.5, plus better than that. Yeah, so I figured he can't actually take my queen, and I thought if he can't take my queen, I have the rook exactly where I want it. I'm in great shape. Like, that's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, I have ideas maybe forming a battery. If he takes, maybe I take with a pawn. I lift my king to e2, and I swing to h1. I thought, again, that I'd have the attacking file. Open line. Whatever the fuck it's called. And I was really getting very excited about my position. He jiggles the king over. So now he is actually threatening to take, I think. I think he's threatening to take. And I don't even think taking is that bad. So in this position, once he plays the king over, I use my second long think of the game, about 10 minutes. It's my second critical position, okay? I realize that he should want to jump the knight to one of these 2 squares. He has to go to f6, which means he'll come in contact with my queen. I first ask myself, if I do a random-ass move, okay? If I do a random move, okay, this is a bad move, but rook c1, what is the position after queen takes, knight takes? And I evaluated this. He goes something like here. And I thought I have nothing. I thought I'm just, like, in a lot of trouble. Yeah, it's minus 1.5. It's not over or anything like that. But white is just a lot worse here. The reason why this is on the edge of the board, it's not really threatening anything. He will most likely. It's actually not so easy. He's got a little bit of issues, but he'll get his pieces out, and as soon as he basically connects the rooks, he's in good shape. So I thought I probably needed to keep queens on the board. I then thought, if I'm going to move my queen, where should I move it? I calculate moving over to g5. This was my first thought, okay? And I thought this was decent, like, maybe, again, it's whatever. Okay, yeah, the computer actually they don't like it, but I thought he couldn't take, for the record. Again, just so you guys can see what I was calculating. Takes. He can't really push. My idea is very simple. I'm going to slide the king over, very safe, to e2, and it gives me the h file. And I think I'm mating his ass. I think he's in the slammer, in the chopper. But the problem with that move is I thought he doesn't have to take. Yeah, to give him an accuracy. Again, I thought he could just develop. He can just basically ignore it and say, come at me, bro. Yeah, knight f6 is the problem. It's always the problem in these positions. It's a very obvious move, and it seems like the best move. A few other moves are pretty good for him as well, like literally just sliding the rook over, which are pretty natural. But this is the move that I was worried about. And I just thought that I have nothing. He's just well defended here. So I then eliminate this move. Obviously, I can't play here. I don't want to play takes. I can't. So the second instinct was thinking, can I just take this pawn? And I thought maybe, this is the third pawn for the piece. Material is technically even on points. But I was really, really worried that this lets him basically have a discovery where it's not so much that the initial threat is so bad, like over here to f6 or whatever. It's not so much that this is so bad. It's that I am threatened. The reason why this pawn is defended, the h pawn, is if he ever takes, I have rook h3 pinning the queen to his king and just winning the game on the spot. Okay, and I thought that if I open up his bishop's actually defending h3. That although yes, I'll have won a pawn, but like let's say I move back to d3 where I think it's best. Now I thought he could actually maybe take the pawn, and I thought I was just in a lot of trouble here. Yeah, this is quite bad. Yeah, queen takes h4, and he crashes through. And notice that in this position, after here, let's say I move here, which I did, but let's say I'm just going to show you. If I move something like here, now if he takes, now I win the game because again, I'm pinning because his bishop is not defending the h3 square. Hopefully I'm explaining that well. It's just in this position, literally this was like a critical juncture of the game. Very, very important. Very, very important moment. So I thought that I can't leave my queen here. I obviously can't go there. I didn't know if I should take the pawn, but I decided it's not good to actually open up his piece. The biggest strength in this position is his own pieces are not involved. I'm down a minor piece for 2 pawns, but also his pieces are just not in the game right now. So I thought, how can I get my other pieces in the game? And I figured actually I don't think I wanted to move it to queen e2 because I thought that's the place where I want to jump the knight. Like basically we want to support the knight that way. I thought I didn't want to play it to f3 because there are a lot of lines where once he lands knight f6, he's going to jump again to that insane outpost, and I wanted the opportunity to play f3 to bump his knight. So I played what I thought was the most logical move, which is queen d1. The idea here is if he follows through with that plan, I always have the idea of pumping f3. I thought from d1, I can go to queen d3, which still kind of bears down the position, again, trying to use those open lines. And this also gives me the opportunity or option that if he does move the bishop off, that maybe I go to b3 instead, still bearing down this way and on that pawn. I thought that was the most flexible spot. Keep in mind, this bishop's not involved yet. I want to be able to involve it, and I need to get the rook. I thought that the rook was best on e1, but I started to change my mind about here. I wasn't sure. Anyway, I did think about this move for a long time because I really wasn't sure, and that's what I went for. Again, with all those reasons in mind. Finally, Anish plays knight f6 now, and I just follow through with my plan. I play queen d3, and also when I play f3, I thought the e-pawn becomes soft, like if he starts bearing down on it. So it's nice to have the queen as a defender. Of course, if he jumped into e4, I would have gone trade, 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 and I think that I'm actually in really good shape there as well. So I just like centralize my queen. Instead, he doesn't do that. He plays the knight out wide, and obviously he's attacking the rook. I think trading the knights is forced here. And at first I got kind of excited about that because I thought that my plan of getting my other knight into the game is so obvious now. This was a really good defender, and he's just kind of giving it up. So I take, He immediately takes, yes, he's consolidating, but I'm not terribly worried about it. After this move, I now play knight e2. I thought this was the natural move. I waste 2 minutes, that's it, on this move. Again, just trying to relocate it. For the record, he still can't take the pawn. He plays bishop h6, which is a good move, I think. Obviously, if he takes, I win the queen. Hopefully you guys see that. Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious. I know the computer evaluation doesn't like my position, minus 1.6, but I thought I had real... again, in the moment, I didn't know I'm, worse. I thought I was better still, actually, believe it or not. Cocky like that. And they like bishop f6. They like this move better. Interesting. I thought this was good, because my whole idea is to play knight f4, hitting the queen. Obviously, he can't take. And getting my knight to a more active square. But now if I do that, he just takes, and then I take back with a pawn. And actually, my pawns come very soft. And I think if I'm trading all the minor pieces, I start to get more and more trouble. So in this position, I had a few candidate moves. Move 19, move 20. Here they are. I noticed that when he moves his bishop away, this dark square diagonal becomes very soft. So my first thought is, okay, I want to attack that, especially because my rook is owning the file. And I thought, well, the natural way is to play d5. So that was one candidate move. It's the move I played. I think it's the best move in the position. I thought d5 was crying to be played. I thought of playing knight to f4 anyway, and just playing this position. And I thought this wasn't so bad for me. He still can't take the pawn because his light square bishop is blocked in. But I was getting a little bit worried, again, about consolidating. I thought maybe he can play over. If we get rid of these rooks, I really don't have the firepower. Maybe I can still draw with the two pawns for the piece, but I'm not sure. So I did kind of say to myself, I don't want to play that yet. I also looked at moving my rook into the game. I wasn't sure what square was best. I wasn't sure what was going to open up on the board. And I realized that if my plan is to play knight f4, where if he then takes and I take, it means the e file becomes open. So I looked at rook e1 here as well. And those are my candidate moves. I'm actually kind of curious what the computer... computer likes d5 best. Yeah, d5 is the best move. Cool. It was crying to be played, and I played it. I feel pretty good. Okay, I played d5. Again, the computer says that white is quite a bit worse, minus 1.5. It means that they like their position. Even, again, material-wise, I'm only down 1. But again, I'm not going to care too much what the computer says here, because, I went for it, and I think practically, again, this is maybe not the easiest to defend. I played d5. For the record, if he pushes, but I thought taking is horrible because now I get my queen in. His bishop is now tied down to the b pawn. I'm now pinning this pawn. It's worth pointing out to his queen, so he really can't push. And I still have ideas of checking here. So I thought if I got this resultant position, that I'd be in very good shape. But apparently I'm wrong. Wow. Apparently after a rook g8, he's fine. Okay, well, again, shows you what I know about chess. But instead he pushes, he locks up the position with c5, and now I go back to square blue. After 2 minutes, I play rook e1, with the idea of making the concession that I'm going to play the knight here to attack the queen, he's going to trade, I'm going to take back, and I'm going to try to use the open file. And that was what I was thinking. I kind of just made peace with it. I know I always have this queen c3 in my back pocket for when it's good. And, I didn't think it was good yet. Let's wait on it. After rook e1, he plays bishop d7. I think this is the best move in the position. He finally has connected his rooks. And it was around this position that I no longer liked my position. Finally, around here, I realized that I don't really have the juice. The juice is not loose. And this was the first time in the position. He's down to 59 minutes. I'm down to 41 minutes. That I say to myself, damn, black is better now, isn't it? And I try to make peace with that. So I decided to just, again, try to play, because there's nothing going on the king side of the board. And a common aphorism is if there's nothing going on one side of the board, maybe it's time to shift focus to the other side. So I played queen b3. In the quick recap or post-mortem afterward, Anish said he didn't like this move because he thought it was just too easy for him to just lock it up. But my idea here was, again, he plays b6, was to soften things up. I told him what I really wanted it to do was wiggle on in and get my queen and to infiltrate this way. Because I need to get in with my piece. Everything else is at a standstill. And that's actually my idea. I was going to play queen a6. Basically get it over there with the wiggle and do the jiggle. As I literally said in the postmortem. I'm sure I made a lot of sense to this kid. In any event, after b6, where he kind of locks it down, I then do a long think, and I think my move is too slow, but I decide to start pawn storming him because I realize he still doesn't have an attack. I thought that he can't play, like even in this position, I thought he can't really take here. Maybe he can take here, but I thought this was so dangerous. He never even considered it. Yeah, computer evaluates this as like pretty equals, right? Because we have the checks, and if he blocks, I then have the pin, maybe things like that. Well, in any event, yeah, because I would just play rook c3. Yeah, and apparently here it's just white would have lost all their advantage. I really was hoping that he would take this pawn. It's such a bad pawn to take. Obviously, he wasn't going to take it. Anyway, he plays b6, and I now shoot out with a4. After a4, he plays rook g8, and it's very clear. He's threatening to just take. And unfortunately, if I lose this rook, it's kind of my best piece. I'm in trouble. Now, I did calculate. If he plays like rook takes and I go knight takes, he can then take this pawn. He's also threatening to checkmate me. Well, I guess I can run out this way, possibly. But, like, shit would be bad. So I start thinking to myself, okay, maybe I can play the check now. Because if he blocks with a bishop, he's no longer able to trade the rooks off. And I said to myself, that's not so bad. And I said, well, what if I check him? And by the way, I check him, and he moves up. By the way, he did block. And he moves up. And I really evaluated this position. I thought for a while. Let's say I spent a while, meaning 2 minutes. And I wasn't sure what to do here. Like, I honestly, I reached this position. And the aftermath, he said, yeah, they say, like, like knight f4 ideas, which was basically the top of my move order list. Anish said he didn't like this because he said he can't move his king anywhere. It's completely in a box. And although that's true, I can't bring another piece to attack it. Like, I don't have anything. Yes, he's locked away, but I think that he's going to be able to trade his pieces. I think he should have played. I think he should have played king h7. Instead, he blocks. And as soon as he blocks, I think to myself, okay, this is good. I have my piece still on, and now he's given up the threat of the knight. So I've kind of like shifted my pieces around so he doesn't have his pieces where I want them. I played the very quiet queen c2. I think that's the best move. Obviously, I'm defending the a pawn. I'm still actively watching the f pawn. I can maybe play b3 to lock things up. But more importantly, I can play the move knight f4. So like this all seemed like all well and good. And I was pretty happy with myself. I was pretty pleased. Fortunately, he plays bishop e5. This is a wooden shield. This is a very strong diagonal that he's locking up. And I realize I have no choice, but I need to just give him the setup with knight f4. And unfortunately, obviously he's threatening to just go takes. And that would be quite bad for me. I thought I had no other move other than knight f4. I thought it had to be played, yeah. And again, I'm just much worse, minus 2.3. It is what it is. I play here. He breathes a sigh of relief, and Nish, wasting no time. He used 5 minutes actually on this move. He gives up the bishop. I take back with a pawn. I think he should have taken here, and we should have gotten that resultant position. But instead, I think Nish plays a very bad move here, very bad. He plays rook He plays rook a e8. And I'll tell you why this is bad. Again, I thought the position I saw was takes. And I don't know. I thought I could draw this. Obviously, I can maybe come on in. I'm still watching this pawn. It's not easy for him to attack this pawn. These pawns are on dark squares, which is good because he's got a light square bishop. I don't know. I saw this position. I thought this was okay. It's not. Apparently, this is just much better for black. After a move like... I thought after queen g6, I could just play my king up. Why is this not okay for me? Play b3. I lock everything up. I mean, this is the position I saw, and I thought this was fine. I mean, the computer doesn't know what he's talking about. I thought this was fine. In any event, the reason why this is a very bad move, and hopefully you guys see it, is for what happened in the game. I see that there's a possible mate here. I'm bearing down. If I trade, he can't move this rook, so he has to take back. And there's two possible recaptures. One of them loses the game completely. So I take, and he should, and Anish wasted no time, and this was game-losing blunder. He should have taken with a rook. And I think if he takes with a rook, I still thought it was fine. I did notice he's bearing down. My queen is defending that square. It's a checkmate. He needs to take with the bishop. And if he takes with the bishop, the game goes on. I probably play b3. And so he takes with the rook, and the game's over here. I breathe a sigh of relief. I officially tricked him. I get the win. I play queen c3. Anish tries to play queen d1. I say, Anish, you're in check. And he's like, oh, God. And he looks at it. He spends 3 minutes. He plays rook e5. I spend 6 minutes trying to decide between takes or king g1. Everything is winning, but I think for 6 minutes here, because I've got the time, why not? And I realize if I go pawn takes, he goes queen check, I block with the queen, and maybe he gets active. And I wanted to leave the queens on because I thought this pin is just too strong. So I play the nice, calm, cool, collected king g1. Now if he checks me, which is what happens, I have this square on h2. There's no checks. He loses the rook, and he honestly probably loses more than that. I still have the mate threat. And he resigns the game here. He topples his king. And I beat in 1873, Score 1 for the good guy, because as you guys can tell, it's like a +5 position. It's just over. It's over! That would have been interesting. I guess he could have maybe played on with like f6 and then pawn takes, and we just go from there. Obviously, it's quite terrible, but I wanted to leave the queen on. I thought I was mating him. He is in the mating web. My king is completely safe. His is not. His bishop kind of sucks. I can lock everything up. GG, why not? And that's it. That was the game. I'm happy with myself. I played the sack. I did, again, looks like I made the wrong choice. The sack was not sound, but I won the game. Pretty proud of myself. Let's just do a game review real quick, just to kind of see, and then I'm going to look at a few other spots, just real quick. Anish is the highest rated player I've beaten so far. He gave me an 81% or so. It looks like after my sacrifice, I was kind of milling around at like a -2 position, and then he blunders, and that's it. That's the game. They give me a blunder for that sacrifice, but, whatever. And, that's it. So, hope you guys like this one, because that was kind of an exciting sacrifice. I was basically playing attacking chess the whole time. I didn't know it was unsound. He didn't know it was unsound. Anish in the recap did say he thought that once he repelled around here, he did think that he was better, and he's right. And I wasn't so sure until we reached like the later middle game, where I then thought to myself, like, oh, maybe, I don't really have anything anymore. But then he fell for the tactic, and, tactics are important. Let me add this. Oops, no, not like that. Let me do this. Let me add to my game collection the May Swiss. This puts me at 1-1 against, players that are quite a bit higher rated than me. Ilya Blokhin is like 1930. Anish is 1870. I entered this month around 1700, so obviously going 1-1 against those guys, I gain a good amount of rating. And let me just very quickly. And by the way, for the record, the computer actually likes this sacrifice, which is one of the things I evaluated. And I should have gone in. Well, maybe when I say likes, I thought they did. Apparently they don't. This is still not very good, but. I don't know. I think it's hard. They have to play queen e6, which is a hard move to play. Let's say they play something like rook. I don't know. This is not so simple. I'm getting another pawn. Takes. It's 3 pawns for the piece here. I don't know. It's a lot of imbalance here. That's for sure. A lot of imbalance. 38 minutes. Yeah. I don't know. The carry on is. It's not that hard. Actually, rook ac8 is the best move here. Remember, I made that as just a random move, but actually it's a very good move in a lot of these positions. I think I probably would have rook lifted, maybe. I'm not sure. But it's like -1 here. I don't know. Just so you guys can tell, though, in this position, if he plays bishop takes, I think black is fine here. It's -1, like, depending. It's not so simple. Again, I would go over. I thought maybe he still can't take because I can squadouche him. If he does something like, queen g6, I was going to just push the pawn forward. I was going to just play g3. Yeah, and the game would have gone on from here. I don't know. I think, once I land b3, kind of shut down this bishop, I don't know. I'm really surprised the computer is this negative about white's position, because I don't think it's that bad. But, it's not so easy. They have to go, like, d7 to support this pawn. I don't know, it's just not so easy. Like, I'm going to maybe get on in there. Real quick, there's a few positions back that I want to just mention. One thing that I really wrestled with is when I could have played these checks here, like instead of going here, I thought of this check, queen c3. Obviously, he can't play bishop g because that's checkmate. So the whole time I saw that he has this move, f6, and I couldn't tell if this was ever good for me or bad for me, basically to force him to move f6. So I actually used a lot of time thinking about this move, like what I would do here. Yeah, and they're saying that basically the only active plan is for me to just launch forward, and then after these trades, takes. I wanted to avoid this, play this position. And in fact, yeah, okay, it's good. Okay, queen f7. For the record, the reason why I didn't want to move his pawn up is I thought it let him naturally double his rooks kind of easily. Funny. It's exactly for that reason that I didn't want to give him this this pawn up there. Interesting. It's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, and then the computer, like, it's -1, but it's a position here. And, like, again, I kind of had a lot of threat. They say just, like, b3, just, like, locking everything up, making this a strong pawn chain. King g1's the other idea, which I kind of understand, because it means that this pawn's not as dangerous because he doesn't have mate threats on h1, because my king would be taking it away. And it's a game here. It's -1, but, like, this is a game. You know, I brought the power chess to a niche. All right, hope you all enjoyed this. Sorry that I'm like lower on analysis. I'm just very pleased with the win. I mean, the real main decision, the critical moment, was the sacrifice, which was unsound as it turns out. But I think I won the game because of it. So you know, people are not computers, especially at 1800s. I think that it posed a lot of practical problems. I preferred bishop takes over knight takes, but again, maybe I could be mistaken. I went for it, and it paid off. Yeah. Wow, they don't like the rook lift here. I'm actually curious, what is the best move then? The best move... No, it is rook h3. I hate when they give it an... You know, it is the best move. Rook h3 is literally the best move, and they give it an accuracy. That makes no sense. I hate when the computer does that. Okay, that is the best move. Did I play the best move here? Rook g... Yeah, I did. Okay, play the best move. He plays the best move, or king over. They're saying to take. They don't like this one. This was my other critical moment. They don't like queen all the way back to d1. Queen takes an f5. They're saying I should actually take this pawn. I didn't like the look of opening up his bishop and giving him the activity, because I thought once he has his discovery, once he plays here. Okay, and the reason why is the computer wants me to play queen g5, letting him trade, but apparently this is now good for me again. Interesting. Yeah, I saw some lines like this. I just wasn't really sure. It involves me finding knight e4, jumping in, which actually I could find because I'm hitting that piece. I think I was going to play the king e2, which they actually like as well. This was my plan in this position, for the record. King e2, with the idea, of course, of bringing the rook over. Yeah, it's very human. Yeah, and this is a plus. You know, this is a good position for white. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed my win. I guess let me just show you real quick. It means from this, I actually gained quite a bit of rating. And what's funny is at the moment, and all this stuff is like often changes, but what's funny is based on the pairings, I'm supposed to play Steven next week. Now, that might change, which I really hope it doesn't, because I really want to play Steven. But I played 2 games of Black and Steven, both Colorado counter gambits, and both times I've destroyed him out of the opening. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on the flip side. Hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as I enjoyed playing it. You know, it's good when the good guys win. I'm going to stop the recording here. Have a good night.